Imagine the trauma, the psychological impact on the victim, the struggle to stay alive when out of control. Drug abuse has dire consequences, a crisis that poses serious threat to public health, national security. It affects communities, destabilizes the family unit and the future of a young generation whose dreams get thwarted. Going by reports, illicit drugs have infiltrated every nook and cranny of the society. And as a nation confronted with this crisis, efforts are being intensified to combat the growing menace of drug trafficking and abuse. As the lead agency, that's the NTA, is checkmating the rising tide of drug trafficking and substance abuse. So far, 62,595 suspects have been arrested, 11,628 convicted, and 10.3 million kilograms of illicit drugs seized in 51 months. Now, this is clear demonstration of commitment by the NDLEA in confronting the fight against illicit drug abuse and trafficking in Nigeria. But there is a clarion call by stakeholders on concerted efforts in combating illicit drug abuse and trafficking through community-driven response, one that integrates enforcement, education, family support, and sustained intervention. In advancing drug control efforts at all levels, how far so far in prevention and advocacy? Tonight on Weekend File, the focus is on war on drugs, Nigeria's fight for safety. And our guest is Mr. Femi Babafemi. He's the Director, Media and Advocacy, NDLEA. But don't forget, on the flip side, the final match of CAF Women Africa Cup of Nations between Nigeria and Morocco kicked off moments ago at the Olympic Stadium in Rabat. Now, the Super Falcons edged out defending champion South Africa in the semi-final of the tournament, which has been nothing short of a brilliant performance for the record. African champions scoring 11 goals and conceding once. And First Lady of Nigeria, Oluremi Tinubu, has charged the Justin Madugu-coached team to bring back the 10th title, which is unprecedented in the history of the championship. So let's put them in prayers. And of course, don't forget to be giving you updates as the match gets heated. Thank you for joining us. This is Weekend File. I'm Ruth Aguele. Before we delve into all the issues, let's bring you the news. The second UN Food System Summit stocktake is underway in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Benny Adams reports that the summit is bringing together under one roof leaders, experts and innovators from across the globe to accelerate a fundamental shift in the world's food systems.
The Nigerian delegation here is registering a strong presence. This is as Nigeria is central to the conversations about shaping the future of how we feed our world, how we build food systems that are not just productive but also sustainable, inclusive and resilient in the face of climate change and other global shocks. It is also about ensuring that every person has access to nutritious food while safeguarding the planet for generations to come. The Minister of Agriculture says Nigeria has not just listened, it has acted, turning national aspirations into remarkable realities.
All the major events, whether it's plenary or side events in terms of financing structures and youth involvement in agriculture, in terms of nutrition in agriculture, and even to the extent that the high-level events and high-level bilaterals, we could see the kind of enthusiasm, the excitement everybody is in trying to meet the high-level delegation from Nigeria. That speaks to a lot of the contributions and the successes and the determination and the political will of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
We have the three Rome-based UN organizations, the WFP, the FAO, and the IFAD, that are actually given the mandate to support the implementation in Nigeria. And they will not stop at that. We also have some international non-governmental organizations like the GAIN, that we have the AGRA, we have GAIN, we have most of these non-governmental organizations that are supporting our, including Care International. So this has made it easy for us to, at least to move and to ensure that all the 30 states of federation are actually involved and engaged.
The expectations here is that at the end, commitments will translate into tangible action on the ground, with emphasis on unlocking the necessary finance and investment needed to truly transform the world's food systems. In Addis Ababa, Benny Adams, NTA News.
Wife of Nigeria's President, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, has been conferred with honorary doctorate degree by the University of Port Harcourt, Rivers State. It is in recognition of her contributions to economic empowerment and nation building. Kinsley Amajiri reports.
The combined 35th convocation of University of Port Harcourt coincides with the university's Golden Jubilee. Since its establishment in 1975, University of Port Harcourt has expanded in its programs, infrastructure, and human capital development. Saturday's convocation was devoted to confer Doctor of Philosophy degree to 934 graduates and 4 honorary doctorate degrees to prominent Nigerians who have contributed to the growth and development of the institution and the nation at large. Wife of Nigeria's President, Senator Oluremi Tinubu, represented by a senior special assistant on strategy, Wahab King, FCT Minister, Nyeso Nweke, Adamawa State Governor, Umaru Fintiri, and Chairman, Board of Tertiary Education Trust Fund, Aminu Bello Masari, were conferred with honorary doctorate degrees.
To the graduates, I say to you, they mark not just the end of the chapter, but the beginning of your journey as leaders, innovators, and citizens. I urge you to carry forward the torch of excellence that this great institution has lit in you.
President Tinubu, represented by Vice Chancellor, Federal University Otueke, Professor Tedis Charles Adias, sees University of Port Harcourt 50th anniversary as a great milestone, pledging the federal government's commitment to educational advancement in Nigeria. Some of the graduates, the convocation marks the milestone in their academic pursuit, opening a new chapter in their contribution to societal advancement. In Port Harcourt, Kingsley Amajiri, NTA News.
Kano State Government is implementing new strategies aimed at elevating the standard of its university system. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf made this known during the second combined convocation ceremony of Northwest University, Kano. Abdullahi Mustafa has more for us.
Established in 2012 as part of Kano State Government's effort to meet the rising demand for university admission, Northwest University has grown remarkably over the years. Between 2018 and 2025, more than 3,000 students have graduated with first and upper degrees. At its second combined convocation ceremony, the university not only conferred academic degrees, but also formally installed the Emir of Lafia, Justice Sidi Muhammad Bagi, as its chancellor.
Northwest University Kano is in the forefront of developing critical manpower required for building and developing our nation.
Probably I am the happiest person today.
The university also featured the conferment of honorary doctorate degrees on several distinguished individuals, including the university's founder and former governor of Kano State, Senator Rabi Musa Kwankwaso, Hajiya Maria Sanusi Dantata, and posthumously the late elder statesman and philanthropist Amina Al-Hassan Dantata.
We are also processing, like I said, for the completion of all the abundant projects, students hosted alike, games pitches, etc., etc.
The Vice-Chancellor, Professor Mukhtar Atiku Kurawa, the Pro-Chancellor and other dignitaries expressed gratitude to the Governor for his commitment to transforming Northwest University into a hub of academic excellence. In Kano, Abdullahi Mustafa, NTA News.
Shaping tomorrow, the strategic role of Muslim women and youth in building resilient and righteous communities was the theme for the 2025 edition of National Conference of Women in the Hour. Participants described the conference as rewarding and fulfilling in the task of shaping Nigeria's future. Yunusa Suleiman reports.
Established in 2003, Women in Dawah is a leading umbrella organization for Muslim women's groups in Nigeria, dedicated to promoting education, enlightenment, outreach and advocacy on women's issues. Wife of the Vice President, Hajjan Nana Kashim Shatima, representative says is relevant and timely as Nigeria continues to navigate its challenges.
Let this conference be a catalyst for positive change, inspiring us to action and uniting us in our shared vision for a better tomorrow.
It is really sad and unfortunate that we have so many vices in the community right now. And this is one of the issues we addressed at this, or we are addressing at this conference. We have a youth session where we engage the youth to tell us, okay, what are their problems.
And other Islamic clerics believe that women as first educators and moral compasses play a crucial role in nurturing future generations. Hence, the conference serves as a tool for educating and equipping them to face the persistent challenges of the present world through Islamic perspective.
The conference has discussed a lot of issues bordering on family values, family morale.
In today's Nigeria, as a woman, as a mother, if you are not contented, you don't have what you pass to your children.
Prominent figures, including the Yobe State Governor, were honored for their significant contributions in propagating and promoting Islamic values in the country. In the Matru, Yunusa Suleiman, NTA.
President Bola Ahmed Tinubu expresses sadness over the passing of Dr. Leon Usigbe, a journalist with the Tribune newspapers and a cherished member of the State House Press Corps. In a statement through his special advisor on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, the president describes Dr. Usigbe as a professional whose dedication to truth, balance and ethical journalism earned him the respect of colleagues, public officials and readers nationwide. The Minister of Information and National Orientation also, that is Mohammed Idris, has condoled with the Tribune newspapers over the death of Dr. Leon Usigbe. In a statement, the minister extends the ministry's condolences, saying his remarkable achievements while at work in the State House continues to speak after his passing. The Sultan of Sokoto and chairman of the Northern Traditional Rulers Council of Nigeria, Alhaji Muhammad Sa'ad Abubakar, has extended heartfelt condolences to the government of Zamfara State, the Gusau Emirate and the people of the late Emir of Gusau, Dr. Ibrahim Bello, who passed on this Thursday. Sultan Sa'ad Abubakar said the late Emir consistently prioritized the welfare and security of his subjects while working earnestly to ensure seamless collaboration. He said the loss signifies that of a member of the Muslim Ummah of Nigeria, praying Allah to forgive him all his sins and admit him into Al-Jannah Firdaus. All right, let's take a break, and when we come back, we'll begin our conversation on war on drugs, Nigeria's fight for safety. Do stay tuned.
The Federal Ministry of Education, under the leadership of Honorable Minister of Education Dr. Maruf Tunji Alausa, CON, and the Honorable Minister of State for Education, Professor Saeed Ahmed Shuaiba, invite the general public to the launch of the Diaspora Bridge Initiative, a flagship program designed to deepen global collaboration, enhance academic research, and strengthen institutional capacity across Nigeria's tertiary education sector. The event will be launched by His Excellency, the Vice President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, Senator Kashim Shettima, GCON. Event details: date Monday, 28th July 2025. Time 10 a.m. Venue State House Banquet Hall.
Foods, serving happiness, nourishing families. Yum!
Some say learning is fun, but as a mom, I see how demanding it can be for my child. That's why I ensure he starts every day with a cup of Bonvita. Bonvita, prepare them to win every day.
Thank you for staying with us. Over the years, Nigeria has intensified efforts to combat the growing menace of drug trafficking and abuse, a crisis that poses a serious threat to public health, national security and the country's future. Salwal Khalil Ibrahim takes us inside the country's multi-pronged war on drugs, examining key arrests, intelligence-led operations, community outreach and a coordinated push to stem the tide of narcotics endangering millions of lives.
Why the morning, why in the afternoon, why in the night?
Illicit drug use has surged alarmingly, particularly among the youths. Every day, especially at air and seaports, thousands of illicit substances are being intercepted. According to NDLEA, more than 66,000 drug traffickers were arrested, with 11.1 million kilograms drugs seized. 12,201 drug traffickers were convicted and 26,393 drug addicts were rehabilitated, all in the last 52 months.
It is vital to stress that the responsibility of shielding our citizens from harmful substances does not rest solely on the shoulders of the NDLEA. It is a collective duty, one that demands the involvement of all, including the general public.
Beyond this enforcement, prevention, many believe, is crucial.
That's why it's cheaper, really cheaper, for all of us to join forces and see that we save our young people from getting involved in it ab initio.
As Nigeria battles on multiple fronts, the menace of the use, abuse and trading in illegal substances cannot be overstated, just as its effect on the general well-being of the people is life-changing in a negative manner. In Abuja, Salwa Khalil Ibrahim, NTA News.
In Kano, drug abuse is no longer hidden. It is in neighborhoods, schools and even homes, from codeine to cannabis, tramadol to methamphetamine. The victims are getting deep into it, and the consequences are more devastating. Fatima Sanusi Karai reports that what began as a private struggle has now become a public health crisis, one that's fueling violence, destroying families and pushing a generation towards addiction.
In Kano, drug trafficking and abuse are tearing through families and communities. Once known for its rich history, culture and bustling markets, the city now faces crisis. Youths trapped in addiction with easy access to substances like codeine, cannabis, and tramadol.
In any country that you see a high level of circulation of narcotic medicines, uncontrolled, you will see instability in those countries. And I think this is part of the thing that is fueling a lot of insecurity we have in our nation, and that's why it is. Because nobody, under their normal circumstances, will just wake up and carry guns and begin to shoot their fellow human beings. But when they are high, under influence, they can do anything. So there's always a direct relationship between circulation of narcotic medicines in any country and instability.
The toll goes beyond health. Drug abuse is now driving domestic violence, with chilling cases of spouses killing each other and even children turning against their parents or parents against their children.
Actually, once somebody engages in taking drugs, he's likely to become a burden of the society in which he is living.
Whoever it is that is under the influence of substance abuse, he can carry out any action because his brain or her brain is affected.
While NDLEA continues arrest and NAFDAC destroys drugs worth millions of naira, treatment remains scarce, and awareness alone is not enough. Without urgent action, investment in prevention, mental health and rehab, Kano risks losing its youth to addiction and its families to tragedy. In Kano, Fatima Sanusi Garai, NTA News.
Right, let's begin the conversation, and we have a guest in the studio, Mr. Femi Babafemi. He's a Director of Media and Advocacy, NDLEA. Thank you very much for joining us, Mr. Babafemi.
Thank you. It's my pleasure being here.
Quite a sad situation we're seeing in Kano there, not just Kano. But I know the NDLEA, first I must commend the unwavering commitment. We're seeing a lot of seizures and arrests being made, but the drug abuse among individuals, I'm sure that's where the challenge lies. But you tell us, how is the WADA campaign?
All right, thank you very much. Fortunately, you are equally well seized of the situation, especially what we are doing at the level of the agency to first sensitize the public, raise awareness, get the people to buy in and take ownership of it, the whole essence of the fight against substance abuse. And that's the whole essence of our war against drug abuse, WADA social advocacy initiative, to get the public, because the NDLA will never pretend that it's what it can do alone, because it's a huge problem. It's a huge problem that's everywhere, just like your reporter did say. It's something that is across all the communities in the country. So, and what we're doing is first to sensitize the public, to raise awareness aimed at prevention, because that is the primary thing. If we look at the first evidence-based National Drug Use Survey conducted or published in 2018, that's over 7 years ago, you see that the population of those that had used illicit substances other than alcohol and tobacco the previous year was put at 40.3 million, meaning that we still have the majority of our population, let's say like more than 200 million people who have not started abusing illicit substances. So we have a responsibility in that regard to prevent more people from slipping into the basket of those who are using illicit substances. And that's what WADA is driving to achieve, to get the public, everybody, starting from the smallest unit of the society, which is the family unit, and to get parents, parenting, standing up to intentional parenting, so that starting from the home, starting from the family unit, everybody can do what they ought to do in their own sphere of influence to ensure that our youths, who are in the majority, if we're looking at that's about 70% of our population, we don't lose them to this scourge, that is the drug scourge. That is first, raising awareness. Two, perhaps we have those that are already slipped into that. What is the agency doing? The agency has also, through the support of the federal government of Nigeria, we have about 30 treatment and counseling centers across the country. And by the grace of God, with the support of the government, again, we do hope that before the end of this year, we'll add additional 7 to that, so as to put in place, to cover the entire country, so that we can have these treatments and counseling centers attached to our commands across the country. And in the last 53 months, I can tell you that we've had more than 27,000 taken care of across all of these places, all of these treatment and counseling centers. That is huge, but then that is still a far cry from the need of the people who really need treatment. Okay. And beyond that, again, we also have, for instance, we know that there are many more people who may not be able to get into these facilities because of the fear of being judged or the fear of stigmatization. We have a call center where we have counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors who work 24/7 every day of the week to provide psychosocial support services for people through a toll-free helpline where anybody can call from the comfort of their homes from any part of the country, and they will be provided support.
Mr. Babafemi, I'm sure you give us the toll-free line before we finish this conversation.
Absolutely.
But the campaign you've mentioned on the water, you didn't mention schools, because we're seeing the younger ones also trapped in this menace. Where is the level of campaign at the schools, the level of schools?
Absolutely. Our commands across the country have the tasking order that at least each command across the country must every week go to all of these places, that is schools, whether primary, secondary, tertiary institutions, marketplaces, motor parks, worship center, that is mosques, churches, as well as our communities. And fortunately, every one of the things we do to also show all of these activities, every Sunday, in the evening of Sunday, we take snippets of all of these activities every weekend. We produce them in a short video, which we share on our handle. So all of these activities are going on. And we don't do them alone. We go with members of non-governmental organizations, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, civil society organizations, because, like I said, we never pretend that it's what we can do all alone, because the problem is huge. We have quite a huge ground to cover. So we go with all of these people so that we can continue to broaden the scope and the network of sensitization activities. And we do hope that as many people as possible can get into this bracket so that we can continue to make use of our sphere of influence, whether on the social media, whether in palaces, whether in worship center, whether in workplaces, all of these places where we do take this sensitization activities to everybody can log in and then get involved, and so that we can continue to get the people well aware of the issues and how to avoid this trap.
Mr. Babafemi, I'm concerned about the rural communities, especially those who are not in the know or don't have access to your campaign. Are there strategies adopted? You've been hammering on a holistic and multi-sectoral approach, you know. So are you getting to the grassroots? Because we have our young people there who are trapped.
Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things I was trying to say, that indeed what we're doing is a whole of government approach to it. That's why we have all the relevant MDAs involved on the one hand in our interministerial committee, just to get everybody involved, and on the other hand, a whole of society, getting everybody down to the grassroots, down to the local communities. And that's why we have the state drug control committees. That's where we have where we involve the state government, the subnational government, the local government drug control committees, as well as the community drug control committees, to cascade all that we're doing at the national level down to the grassroots, down to the communities. And again, like I did say, all of these things are things we produce to show that indeed we're not leaving any stone unturned. We're not leaving. We're not closing our eyes to any sector of the community. Of the society. But then I will say again that this is not what a single agency of government can handle alone. We need everybody to come on board, and that's why we continue to mobilize traditional institutions, faith-based organizations, community-based organizations, for everybody to come on board, to buy in, and continue to work with us so that we can continue to get these messages down to the local communities and the grassroots.
All right, Mr. Babafemi, we'll pick up on the conversation. We have to take a break.
27 states at risk of flooding in Nigeria. The effect could have collateral damage on life and property, environment, and dire consequences on health and food security, with implication on the economy and development. This informs our conversation on NTA Tuesday Live on the 29th July 2025 on challenges and mitigation strategies. NTA Tuesday Live, with those who should know. Tuesday Live, every week on Tuesdays at 10:30 p.m. Incisive and educative. Join us.
Thank you for staying with us. It is perhaps one of the greatest weapons of self-destruction. We're still talking drug abuse, despite efforts by relevant authorities, to tackle or rather check this enduring plague. Several challenges persist. Awal Yusuf Jibo reports.
From bustling border towns to quiet neighborhoods, the shadow of drug abuse and trafficking looms large. Enforcement agency NDLEA have recorded major breakthroughs, seizing over 6,000 tons of illicit substances and securing thousands of convictions in recent years. But even with these gains, the fight remains an uphill battle.
And it's not only in Lagos. Generally, in NDLEA, we face a lot of challenges when it comes to logistics. With the coming of General Muhammad Buhari retired, still speaking, the issue of logistic operation of vehicle is
You find out that a community is vulnerable in drug dealing or trafficking. but the masses are not ready to inform the government agencies.
It's not all bleak, though, as the NTLEA insists that despite mounting obstacles, it has recorded some of its most successful operations in recent years.
We have also identified and destroyed clandestine labs producing methamphetamine. And also in the area of enlightenment, the agency has stepped up measures through the initiative of the WADA campaign.
As stakeholders call for stronger collaborations, it is evident that winning the war will require not just the might of law enforcement, but a sustained approach that involves all in the society. In Lagos, Awoli Subjubo, NTA News.
Mr. Babafemi, I'm sure that report is also an eye-opener, especially if we want to put a spotlight on states' commitment, prioritizing prevention and, of course, what's the other word? Prevention and treatment, yes. You know, earlier you mentioned that the NDLEA is, doing its best to have rehabilitation centers. But what is the level of commitment from states? Because they are the ones who get directly involved with the people.
Yes, absolutely. One of the things we have done at the national level is not just to stop all our activities at this level. We just have to get the sub-national government involved. And like I said before, there is what we did. We set up state drug control committees, the SDTCC. The SDTCC is meant to work. It's the structure at the state level meant to work with our command at that level so as to ensure that all the things that are needed peculiar to that environment are done. For instance, talking of skills acquisition, talking of rehabilitation centers. I mean, the recommendation actually to I remember that PASIDA, that's the Presidential Advisory Committee on the elimination of drug abuse, set up in 2018. One of the recommendations was for each state government to set up 3 rehab facilities in each state. That is one per senatorial district, and that's one of the things we're still pushing for the state government. There are quite some state governments that have done that, but largely, majority, they are yet to do that. That I'm certain about. But then we're still working with the state governments to ensure that this is put in place so as to, because what we have cannot cover the needs of all of the people that really need treatment. When you look at the number of people who are involved or who are struggling with substance abuse. And but beyond that, again, beyond the state, the SDCC, we also have this structure at the level of the local government too. And lest I forget, at the state level, we've encouraged all this, the state government to ensure that the first ladies, because that's the closest individual to the state governor.
Which the First Lady of Nigeria is also campaigning.
Exactly, to get the First Lady of each state to share that committee, that state drug control committee, so that they can have all the will and the resources to do all they need to do at that level. And then we have that same structure at the local government level, which we have also moved that the local government chairman should also head down to the community, where we also believe that the traditional ruler or one of the most prominent individuals at that level should also share. And this is exactly how we're trying to get everybody mobilized, all the structures, all the needed structures down to those grassroots level. And one of the things we have also done to push this hard is to also, every year we bring all the wives of the state governors across the country to Abuja here, where we organize training, that is the DPTC, drug prevention, treatment and care training for all of them. We've had that of this year around May or so in Abuja here. We had the previous year, and the years preceded that, we've had the same trainings for them, just to mobilize them and let them understand the complexity of this problem and how...
Especially even as mothers,
Exactly. Because as mothers, first ladies, will feel it more and will understand it better than any other person. So that's why we have to get them involved. And we are glad that gradually we are getting these structures activated and working in a number of states, even though it's yet to be widespread, it's yet to cover all of them. But then this, all the efforts to mobilize them, they are already yielding these results of getting this SDDC working and down to the grassroots.
Okay, so Mr. Babafemi, it's a lot of work, cut out for the agency, especially in, combating demand and supply reduction. How is the agency building its capacity, talking about its personnel, to meet target? What are you dealing with?
Yes, indeed. Where we are now, I'll tell you, is not where we were some 4 or 5 years ago. I mean, some 5, 6 years ago, that I can tell you. I'll tell you that with the coming of General Marwa as the chairmanship executive of NTA leader has really brought quite a lot of changes. There have been quite a lot of metamorphoses, quite a lot of developments, and quite a lot of dynamics in the agency. First, let's say by 2021, the agency has a manpower of less than 5,000. Today, I can tell you we have a manpower of about 15,000. That's huge. And now we're spreading down to the local governments across the country. Beyond that, again, the leadership of the agency has really prioritized training because I mean, the kind of cartels, the kind of DTO drug trafficking organizations we are contending with, it's global in nature, and so we have to be steps ahead of them. And that's why you see the kind of consignments, drug consignments you have that we share with the public every weekend. You see how, I mean, it takes quite a lot of training, quite a lot of professionalism, and quite a lot of technological tools and intelligence to be able to discover all of those things. Beyond that, again, fortunately, again, I will say again that the agency has also built or broadened its network and collaboration with other global bodies. Talking of the U.S. Drug Enforcement Administration in the United States, we're working very closely with them. The International Narcotics and Law Enforcement, that's the INL in the U.S., the Home Office International Operations in the UK, Border Force in the UK, National Crime Agency in the UK, the French police, the German police, the Brazilian police, the Narcotics Bureau in India, that of Saudi Arabia, even down to Africa here, Gambia, Ghana, Cote d'Ivoire, and across the West Africa sub-region. We broadened the network. We broadened our network with all of these, our counterparts in all of these places to share intelligence, also to have joint operations with all of them.
All right. Mr. Babafemi, very briefly, I mentioned earlier that you're going to give us a toll-free line. You want to mention that also. I'm just going to give a recommendation if maybe there can be ambassadors, or mentors who will go to schools, who will go to communities to speak against this drug. Is the agency going to look at that?
Absolutely. Our toll-free helpline is available for anybody from any part of the country, and the number is toll-free. Nobody is paying for it. The bill is on us. The number is 0800 0010203040.
You have to take it slow.
Okay, sorry.
Take it again.
Okay, the number again is 0800, that is 080010203040.
You want to take it one more time?
Okay, 080010203040. Okay. That's the number anybody can call from the comfort of their homes in any part of the country. And we have our experts, like I said, counselors, clinical psychologists, psychotherapists, and psychiatric doctors working 24/7 every day around the clock. They don't sleep there. They are working, they take people's calls and attend to you, refer you if there is need for you to be checked into a physical rehab center. And beyond that, one other important thing about this center is that it's language sensitive, meaning that if you cannot speak English or Pidgin English, they can attend to you in any of the 3 major Nigerian languages, that is Hausa, Yoruba, Igbo. This is to further deepen and extend the reach of this service to the people at the grassroots, at the local communities.
Okay. You have a message for parents?
Oh, absolutely. Okay. Our parents, this is the time for them to wake up and stand up to parenting, intentional parenting. I mean, this is not the era where we give birth to children and just say, God will take care of them. No, you have to get involved because First thing first, you have to ensure that your children, we need to have parents that are bothered, that are concerned about the welfare. They are bringing the changing pattern of the lifestyle of their children. Children that used to be with you in the living room to play with the family suddenly get withdrawn into their rooms. They sleep when others are awake. They are awake when others are sleeping. The change in their eating habits. A lot of parents don't bother about what's in the backpack that their kids come back home, or the change in the friends they keep. All of these things, parents need to pay attention to them, so that when these people are already experimenting with illicit substances, they can quickly get drug integrity tests conducted on them, and then we detect early and then provide them support early before the matter becomes complex, that before it gets into addiction, drug dependence.
Mr. Femi, Baba Femi, I must commend the agency's passion and dedication to this fight.
Thank you very much.
And for us in NTA, we'll do our part. Thank you very much.
Well, I appreciate you for that.
All right. So let's take a break. We'll be back. Please stay tuned.
Services Regulation Coordinating Committee, FSRCC, in collaboration with the National Broadcasting Commission, NBC, wishes to draw the attention of the public to the worrisome increase in the activities of illegal financial operators, IFOs, which threaten public trust and the stability of the Nigerian financial system. The FSRCC and NBC hereby advises the general public to refrain from dealing with unlicensed financial operators who deceive individuals with unrealistically high investment returns. Make sure to verify the licensing status of such companies and schemes on this website. To report any suspicions of illicit financial activities, call Let's work together to uphold the integrity of Nigeria's financial system. Announcer, FSRCC.
Have you heard the news? The federal government of Nigeria, through its direct benefit transfer program, has started the disbursement of 75,000 naira per household in 3 installments of 25,000, 25,000, 25,000 naira. Each recipient must have a validated national identification number, NIN, to receive the payment on behalf of their household members. To benefit, your household must be in the National Social Register of Poor and Vulnerable Households in Nigeria. The federal government's direct benefit transfer program is helping to reduce the effect of suffering while promoting financial and economic inclusion for the poor and vulnerable population in Nigeria.
My name is Joy Odagi. One man just called me one day at my house, so I shocked. I said, my man said, na 419. How they go call me? Say, I register. I say, I register. He said, make I call my mark. Say, make I call collect my, with NIN, make I call collect my ATM card. Call collect money. Time me I go with my husband, he said, na 419. I reach there, he say, real. They pay me my 75,000 naira. I use the money for my business, eat for inside. Teach one person how to make soap. To get the card, you need NIN.
This message is brought to you by the Federal Ministry of Information and National Orientation, Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs and Poverty Reduction, in collaboration with the National Social Investment Programs Agency, National Social Safety Net's Coordinating Office, and the National Cash Transfer Office.
Thank you for staying with us. On the global scene, Libya has detained 1,500 undocumented migrant workers in a raid near Tripoli, just as Ecuador deports prisoners back to Colombia as Bogota lodges protest against the move. Let's get details from Uche Oguchuko.
The rally, organized by opposition parties, marks the first major protest in Southeast Asia's sixth largest economy since Anwar took power after general elections in 2022. Protesters gathered at various points around the city center before converging on the central Independence Square in drizzling rain, carrying placards saying, "Step down, Anwar." While police kept a close eyes, they said Anwar has already governed the country for 3 years and is yet to fulfill the promises he made. Libyan authorities detained some 1,500 undocumented migrant workers of various nationalities in a raid on a neighborhood housing them east of the capital, Tripoli. Libyan Labour Minister Ali Al-Abed said the workers had no residency permits, no official passports, and not even health records. Libya has been gripped by conflict since the overthrow and killing of longtime ruler Muammar Gaddafi in 2011. The Labour Minister cites the detained migrant workers will be transferred to centres run by the Anti-Illegal Immigration Authority, and legal proceedings will be initiated against them according to national regulations. Elsewhere, Colombian prisoners previously imprisoned in Ecuador wait at the border to be deported back to Colombia as Bogota lodged protests with Ecuador for deporting the inmates without prior agreements. This is described as a violation of international law and an unfriendly gesture by its neighbor. Uche Ugochukwu, NTA News.
All right, time to talk sports, and Ayo Deji Makinde is set. Ayo, not pleased with the news I'm hearing. The Atlas Lionesses are leading 2-0. Is that really happening?
Oh, actually it is, but there's still another 45 minutes of redemption. Hopefully the tide would swing and the Falcons would fly. Well, welcome to sports. The final of the 2024 Women's Africa Cup of Nations between the Super Falcons and Morocco is ongoing. After the first 45 minutes, Nigeria is 2 goals down, courtesy of goals from Ghislaine Shebak and Sana Umsudi. Of course, Nigeria are going for an unprecedented 10th Africa Cup of Nations title, while the Atlas Lionesses are still in search for their first title. So still 45 minutes to go. Let's leave football and go to basketball, where defending champions the Tigress of Nigeria tipped off their Afro-Basket campaign in style, dismantling Rwanda 90-45 points in their opening game. Lisbeth Balogun led the scoring with an impressive 18 points in just over 26 minutes of play, hitting 8 of 11 from the field. Elsewhere, Paralympic bronze medalist Eniola Bolaji soared to new heights after winning the British and Irish Para-Badminton International, which held at the Sports Wales National Centre in Cardiff. The world number 2 claimed a hard-fought 2-1 victory over Paralympic champion and world number 1 Konita Shakuru in the women's SL3 final. Bolaji had defeated Australia's Celine Vinot in round 2, as well as the world number 10 Milena Soro of France, followed by another dominant win over India's Sanjana Kumari before advancing to the final. Back here in Nigeria, the Federal Ministry of Education Sector Games has conducted draws for the football event of the 5th edition of the Sports Fiesta, slated for the Lafia City Stadium and Federal University in Nasarawa State. Minister of Education Tunji Alausa, in his charge to the steering committee, urged them to foster unity among the 23 departments and agencies under the ministry's supervision. Over 500 athletes and officials would compete in 13 events from August 3 to 9.
The Minister personally signed a strongly worded letter to each of the ministry to ensure full participation.
Any agency caught using non-bona fide staff will be summarily dismissed from the game. And we intend to actualize that. Because what's the essence? When you are bringing non-staff to come and compete with the members of staff.
Back here in Abuja, Minister of Youth Development Ayodele Olawande and the Executive Vice Chairman CEO of Naseni, Khalil Suleiman Halilu, have reiterated government's continuous support for sports development across various sectors of public service. They made the commitment at the July monthly walk and jog exercise of the Federation of Public Service Games at the training pitch of the Moshood Abiola National Stadium, where over 10,000 workers participated. Of course, including the Nigerian Television Authority.
President have charged us to think outside the box. So thinking outside the box is mingle, doing things and working directly, partnering, collaborating with the civil service.
You know, we're very happy to be here. and we're committed to supporting activities like this.
I think sports is one of the key pillars of President Tinubu's administration, using sports to galvanize the entire federal civil service, and also with the support of the Office of Head of Civil Service of the Federation. FEFGA today is one of the major sports festivals we have in this country, standing shoulder to shoulder with national sports festivals.
First 45 minutes, Women's AFCON final, Morocco 2, Nigeria 0. Let's hope they will be ruthless coming back into the into the second half of the final, and it's back to Ruth.
Ayo, I don't want to smile. You're not going to make me smile.
Just have some spirit of sportsmanship, come on.
Okay,
yeah.
All right, let's do weather together.
A heavy rainfall alert is in effect for parts of the country, with over 50 millimeters of rain expected in the next 24 hours. Areas at high risk of flash flooding includes Kaduna, Kebbi, Niger, the Federal Capital Territory, Delta, Rivers, Bayelsa, Cross River, and Akwa Ibom. Residents in these states should stay alert, especially those in flood-prone communities. Meanwhile, the northern region should expect more stormy activities with isolated and more moderate rains in parts of Kogi, Kwara, Benue, some parts of the Federal Capital Territory, Nasarawa, Plateau, and FCT. In the south-south and southeastern region, heavy showers may cause localized flooding. Therefore, avoid flooded roads, clear drainage channels, and stay tuned for more updates from NIMET. Stay safe and stay informed. Thank you for watching.
All right, tomorrow, July 27th, is National Love is Kind Day. Sounds strange, yes, but very important. It is a day to celebrate the freedom and independence of those who have escaped domestic violence or abuse. The day serves as a reminder that love should be kind, nurturing and free from harm. It is also a day to recognize the right to be treated with kindness in all relationships. A day created to honor survivors of domestic violence and to promote the message that healthy relationships are built on kindness and respect. The cycle of abuse continues to cripple families, especially women and children who are most vulnerable. Unless we work together, the cycle of abuse will never stop. Through education and awareness, we can help abuse victims find a way to live a happier and healthier life, safe from danger. And with that, we round off today's edition of Weekend File. Thank you for being part of it. I'm Ruth Aguilera. Good night.